Hi everybody, I'm Shruti and I'm from the Exchange Reporter Plus team of Manage Engine. Thank you very much for taking the time to attend today's workshop. It means a lot to us here at Manage Engine. And before I proceed any further, I'd like to mention one thing. Please make sure that everything's fine at your end. I hope the screen and my voice and everything is clear at your end and you are able to view the slides and listen to my voice without any glitches. And if you are facing any issues, please bring that up in the chat box that you see on your screen so that we can immediately fix this before we take any step further. So I'll give you a minute so that you can let me know through the chat box if you have any problems with hearing my voice or seeing the screen. All right, so I'm assuming that all of you are able to view the screen and listen to my voice clearly. So yeah, thank you very much once again for attending today's workshop. And before we begin, there's the usual instructions. If you have any questions, you can definitely ask us. We have our support team sitting right here ready to help you out on any question, any query that you may have. You can voice it out through the chat box that you see on your screen and we will get back to you immediately. We will solve your questions immediately and that's it. So please do put the chat box that you see to good use because we are right here to answer your questions. Right. So this is the final workshop in this workshop series and we had 4 workshops previously. So in those 4 workshops, we saw how you can use this product, Exchange Reporter Plus, to report on all the mailboxes in your organization. We also saw how you can audit changes to the properties of mailboxes, how you can identify any changes to the permissions over mailboxes, how you can identify non-owner mailbox logons, or how you can track changes to the mailbox databases. So if any database is suddenly mounted or dismounted, we saw how you can use this product in order to track that and in order to alert on changes such as this. And we also saw how you can monitor your Exchange environment, be vigilant about your Exchange environment. And finally, we saw how you can get detailed reports on OWA, ActiveSync, and email traffic. So that was the very previous workshop that we had last week. So that's when we saw the reports on OWA, ActiveSync, and email traffic. So 4 workshops are done and this is the final workshop in this workshop series. And if you did not attend any of the previous workshops of this series, it's totally fine. I'm not going to be calling back to anything that we discussed in the previous workshops, so you don't have to worry, right? So today we're going to look at brand new topics, none of which is going to be related to the past 4 workshops, so you do not have to worry. This session is going to be all about things like reporting on your Office 365 environment and your Exchange servers. So if you have a hybrid environment, you don't have to worry because Exchange Reporter Plus has a number of reports on Office 365 too. So we cater to both Exchange servers and Exchange Online. On premises and Exchange Online, you don't have to worry at all. You can use Exchange Reporter Plus to suit your needs. And we're also going to be coming up with numerous new reports, especially for administrators of hybrid environments. So in today's workshop, we will be seeing 2 tasks specific to Office 365 and the rest of the tasks will be about on-premises Exchange. So without further ado, let's take a look at the tasks that we will be performing today so that you get an idea about what exactly you can expect from today's workshop. So by the end of today's session, you will be able to do all of the tasks that we've listed out here. So you will be able to find all the inactive distribution lists in your organization. You will know how you can search all messages based on keywords. So you will find out how you can locate messages based on keywords present in their subject line or keywords in the body of the message. Or you can also isolate messages based on the type of attachment. Say you want to isolate all messages that are or that have an attachment with the .exe extension. So you can isolate it very easily, and you can also locate messages based on the size of the attachments and so on. So that's the second task. And then you will be seeing how you can track room mailbox usage using Exchange Reporter Plus. And then the next two tasks, which are both specific to Office 365. So these two include checking the sizes of mailboxes. So you can check the sizes of your Office 365 mailboxes easily using Exchange Portal Plus. You will be able to find out all details about the active sync enabled mobile devices in your organization. And finally, you will easily be able to track the public folder size and public folder permissions using certain reports of Exchange Reporter Plus. So it's just 6 tasks, and we are going to be looking at all 6 of these tasks. We will be performing all 6 of these tasks so that you get an idea about how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus in order to administrate or manage your Exchange environment. So before we start performing all these tasks, let's take a quick look at the product screen. I'm switching to it right now. So this is the product screen, and throughout this session I will be using this test setup. This is actually a lab setup, and its URL is admp.cloudapp.net the port number, which is 8181. So you will also be receiving, you have already received the link to this particular lab setup that's hosted on Azure through chat. So if you keep an eye on your chat window, you can see the URL right there, and we've also sent you the credentials to log in, which will actually be auto-filled. So the credentials are admin as both the username and the password. So you've received both the URL and the credentials over chat, and we've sent it to you because you can get some hands-on experience. So if you want to play around with the features as I speak, you can very well do so. So you have the URL in your chat box, just click on it, the credentials will be auto-filled, and you just need to click on the login button. So I've also clicked on the login button right now, and I'll give you a minute so that if you are interested, you can log in too. Okay, there was an issue. Let's just log in again. Right. So I'm giving you a minute. So if you want to play around with the features, please do go ahead and do so. So this is how this session is going to work. I will be talking about each task. I will be showing how you can perform each task. So each time I'll switch to my slide deck, and I will be reading out the topic for you. I will be mentioning a use case about each topic, something that our customers brought up when we were discussing reports such as this with them. So everything that I'm mentioning here has happened to other people. So we will be discussing the use case, and then I'll switch to the product screen, and I'll show you how exactly you can use Exchange Reporter Plus to perform this task. And if you wish to do so, you can also try it along side by side. Since this is just a reporting software and these are all on-click reports, I won't be spending much time on each task, or since we're not like explaining any detailed steps to you, but you can definitely go ahead and play around with the features. Right. So I hope you've logged in if you're interested. So this is the product screen, and as you can see, you have a dashboard. You're welcomed by a dashboard as soon as you log into the product. And there are 3 main tabs for attendees who did not attend any of the previous workshops, which is totally fine, by the way. So we have 3 main tabs: the reports tab, the audit tab, and the monitoring tab. So in the past 4 workshops of this workshop series, we discussed reports which fell under any and all of these 3 tabs. And today, everything that we are going to see falls under the reports tab. So we are going to be reporting on key components such as Office 365. So this is for the hybrid environment administrators. And then we're going to be reporting on distribution lists and room mailboxes. and so on, and general mailboxes and content of mailbox messages and so on. So all of them are going to be present under the reports tab, and let's move on. Let's start with the very first task for the day. So this is the first task. You are going to look at how you can use this product in order to find all the inactive distribution lists in your organization. So Active Directory mailing lists, Active Directory distribution lists are this very efficient way. They help you send messages to a large set of people, and you can do this in a single shot. So this is obviously something that's advantageous to people. And Exchange Reporter Plus offers several reports on distribution lists so that you can get complete information about these mailing lists in your organization. So some of the reports, we have some reports that help you identify distribution lists along with their members. We have some reports which help you track the distribution list traffic. And then we have some reports which help you identify, we have a single report which helps you identify the inactive distribution lists in your organization. And the last thing that I mentioned is exactly what we are going to look at now. So your organization, whether it's large or small, it's obviously going to have a certain amount of mailing lists, a certain number of mailing lists. But do you know which ones are being in use and which ones are not being in use? So yeah, there could be so many distribution lists that are totally dead. There's no activity at all in these mailing lists. And why might this happen? You may have deleted email accounts for people who leave the organization, but you may not have deleted their distribution lists. So this just keeps piling one after the other, and now you want to get rid of the inactive distribution lists. And to show that you're deleting the inactive ones, you need proof. So Exchange Reporter Plus reports on all the inactive distribution lists in your organization, and these are all reports that can be exported to a destination folder. So this also serves as excellent documentation for you. Not only do you get to identify the inactive lists, you also get to document the inactive lists so that deleting them is plain sailing for you. So let me switch to the product screen and show you how exactly you can identify them. So under the Reports tab, if you look at the left pane, we have 8 different categories available. And right now, we're looking for inactive distribution lists, which will obviously fall under the distribution lists category. So let me click on it, and you can see the report right here. It's called the Inactive Distribution Lists Report. Let me click on it. So the next time you want to discover all the mailing lists in your organization that do not have any activity, you just need to use this product. And once you click on inactive distribution lists, it lists out complete information about all the inactive distribution lists in your organization. So as you can see, it shows you information such as the name of the distribution group. It shows you the type of the distribution group, whether it's a security or distribution group. It shows you the scope, universal, global, and so on. You can see the number of members present in this distribution list, the email address. You can see when the last email was received, and if an email was not received at all, this column just has a dash. It has a hyphen to indicate that no email was received for the members of this distribution list. And then finally, the last column shows you when the distribution list was created. So I hope you can see why exactly this particular report is going to be very useful to you in your organization. So all this information, if you want to find out all this information, using PowerShell scripts to do so is going to be difficult. The native tools are not exactly helpful. Okay, they are helpful, but it makes the complexity higher, and the time taken to discover the inactive distribution list is going to be higher when you use the native tools. So instead of depending on the native tools, you could just use Exchange Reporter Plus in order to identify all the inactive distribution lists. And as I mentioned earlier, for documentation, you can also export the report to any destination folder. So you can see a button right here which says export as, and you have 4 different formats in which the file can be exported. So you have it in CSV, PDF, XLS, and HTML. So you can export the report you can add the report or you can bookmark the report so that it becomes a favorite report. So once you bookmark the report, you just need to go to the My Reports option in order to find out which report was bookmarked. So you just need to click on the report from here and it's going to be it pops up on your screen, and that's it. So this is how Exchange Reporter Plus helps you in tracing the distribution lists in your organization that have been inactive in terms of email transactions. So that is the first task for the day. Let's move on to the next task of the day. So in the next task, we are going to search messages based on the keywords. So we are going to locate messages based on keywords that are present in their content. So that's how this is going to work, right? So let me give you a use case as usual. So there are many situations where you may need to identify all the messages in your organization that have a particular keyword in some part of the message. So I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on our Exchange Reporter Plus forums, but we actually had a detailed post about this recently because we've had people telling us why exactly they found these reports that we have available helpful. So I'm going to mention some of those use cases right now too. So please listen. So why would you need to discover messages or locate messages based on particular keywords in their content? So the very first reason, the main reason is for legal purposes. Okay. And then there's another reason where you could have an internal investigation going on in order to identify messages with one particular keyword. So at this juncture, I would like to bring to your attention one particular use case that one of our customers mentioned. So naming no names, this was an important organization and they were using Exchange Reporter Plus. So at some point, they figured out that some confidential information was being exchanged with external email domains. And this is not something that's desirable in any organization. So once they discovered that something like this was going on, they needed to find out who exactly was involved in this. So this launched an internal investigation in their organization. So here's what happened. They knew that this file, this confidential data had gone out in the form of an attachment. And they knew the extension of the attachment, say a PDF. So all they had to do was use one particular report of Exchange Reporter Plus. So they just used the attachment by file extension keyword report. I will be getting into it in the next few seconds. So yeah, so I will be explaining it. So don't worry if you don't exactly know what I'm talking about. So we have one particular report which helps you identify all the messages based on one particular extension. So if you want to list all the emails that were exchanged which included an attachment that was a PDF, you can discover this using Exchange Reporter Plus. So this organization used this particular report, they identified the individual and then they did what they had to do. So this is actually something that happened for one of our customers. So like this, there are many use cases that we have available about every single content report that we have in Exchange Reporter Plus. So that's one reason. So you could need this report for legal purposes, you could need this for internal investigation, or the final reason is this, spam emails. So it's something that every organization goes through. So there could be certain spam emails that you want to get rid of and to keep away any mail-bound threats or to just locate messages based on specific keywords, you can use the Mailbox content reports of this particular product. So let me switch to the product screen and explain to you each report about each report so that you get a clearer picture. So these reports can be found under the mailboxes category. So let me click on that and right here. So there's a subcategory called content reports and these are all the reports that we're looking for. So if you look at the very first report, folder message count and size, this report gives you data on the number of messages and the used space in each mailbox in your organization. It does this one mailbox at a time. So this gives you preliminary information. So with this preliminary information, you can ensure further troubleshooting. So when you want a quick snapshot about the number and the size of messages in all the mailboxes in your organization, you just need to use this particular report. And then another report, the messages by subject keyword report. So why is this helpful? I was talking about spam emails just a few seconds back. So if you want to isolate spam emails, you can use this report. So let me explain that with an example. So if you want to separate all messages that have a keyword like lottery or marketing in their subject lines, you can use this report. So say you know that there are some spam emails that your employees are getting, and that these emails have the word lottery in their subject line. You can use this report in order to identify all these emails. So you can identify who exactly is receiving these emails and so on. And then let's look at this report, messages by body keyword. So this is similar to the messages by subject keyword report, except that here the keyword is present in the body. So if you know that a message, if you want to isolate all messages that have one particular keyword in the body of the message, you can isolate this very easily using Exchange Reporter Plus. So you just need to specify the keyword and information about every single message that had that particular keyword in the body of the message can be identified using Exchange Reporter Plus. So this is with respect to messages. And then there are three specific reports for attachments. So it's very important to scan attachments too, because obviously most of your malicious files come as attachments. So if you by mistake open any malicious attachment, it could easily get through to your computer, and it could go to the extent of devastating your entire network. And based on recent events, you can never be too cautious about your attachments and malicious files coming in the form of attachments. So when it comes to that, let's look at the first attachment-based report that we have available. It's called the attachment by file name keyword report. So if you know the file name of the malicious file, you can use this report. So with this report, you can isolate such files and necessary action can be taken. So any threat to your exchange infrastructure that comes through emails can be identified and avoided with the help of Exchange Reporter Plus, with the help of this particular report of Exchange Reporter Plus. And then there's another report called the attachment by file extension keyword report, where the keyword lies in the extension of the file. So say you are isolating installation files. Why? Because you could have installation files that are possible carriers of malicious software. So this would be your .exe files, or you could also be isolating media files, because media files such as your MP3 and AVI files take up a lot of space in the Exchange Mailbox server. So for all of these reasons, you can use this report in order to identify every message that was sent or received in your organization containing one particular extension. So that's where this helps out. And finally, we have the attachment by file size report, which, as the name indicates, is going to help you locate messages that contain files that may be consuming space on your Exchange Mailbox servers. So that's how all these reports work out. And as I mentioned earlier, there were two parts under the content reports. You can isolate messages based on the content, as in content and keywords in the subject and the body, or you can isolate messages based on the attachments. So let's look at one report from each of these two categories. So the very first one, which is keywords in the content. So for that, let's look at the messages by subject keyword report. And I've clicked on it. So as I mentioned earlier, this report is going to locate all the messages in my organization that contain a particular keyword in their subject line. So right here you have the report has been generated. It shows you information such as the mailbox name. It shows you the name of the folder. It shows you the subject of the message too. Since you're isolating messages based on keywords in the subject, you can isolate, it shows you the subject of the message. It shows you who sent the message, who received the message, when they received the message, and the size of the message. The last two columns are blank here. They're attachment file name and attachment file size. So if an attachment is present, the name and the size of the attachment will be displayed here in the final two columns of this report. Since there were no attachments present in any of these messages, these two columns are empty. So that's how this report works. But I know what you're thinking. This is just a report, but how do you exactly decide the keyword with which the messages should be located? What if you want to locate all the messages in your organization that contain the keyword marketing in their subject line? How exactly do you customize this to reflect that? So in order to do that, here's what you need to do. So as you can see in the left pane, my cursor is pointing to a link called the Create Report button. So click on Create Report. So Exchange Reporter Plus allows you to customize reports in order to be run for specific mailboxes, or in the case of content reports, you can specify keywords with which the messages should be located. So in order to do that, I've clicked on the Create Report option. I can enter in the name of the report right here. Let me call it Messages by Messages with the keyword marketing, because that's exactly what this report is going to be. So I've entered in a name for the report, and then I need to select the type of report. So since this falls under content reports, let it be, the category would be mailbox content reports, and the name of the reports would be mail search reports, since it's searching through emails in order to discover all the emails that have the keyword marketing in their subject line. So I've selected mail search reports, and then I can select the mailboxes for which this report needs to be run. So I just need to click on this plus button and a pop-up window appears. So using this, you can select this report to be run for specific mailboxes alone. Say you suspect that one particular department is receiving email messages that contain the keyword marketing. I'm just using marketing loosely here, but I'm sure you understand what exactly I'm referring to. Any message that you want to discover based on a particular keyword, you can do so. And since this is just for demonstration purposes, I'm using the keyword marketing here. Right, getting back to the topic, you can select any important mailboxes alone from here, or you can select the mailboxes of one particular department. Or since this is once again just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go ahead and select all the mailboxes instead of individually selecting each mailbox. So yeah, I've selected the mailboxes, click OK, and that's it. And then you can select the gathering interval. What kind of interval do you want the data gathering to begin with? So do you want it to run immediately, or should data gathering happen daily, weekly, or monthly? So I want data gathering to be initiated immediately, which is why I'm going to leave it at run immediately. And then you can select the filters. So as in there are filters mentioned here. You can select the date range using this drop down menu, whether you want it for last week, last 7 days, any of these, or whether you want this to be done for all of these. So I'm going to leave it at the default option, which is all. And then you can select the folder name in case you want to isolate messages present only in certain specific folders. So say you want to locate messages, say you want to identify messages that were received by the employees in your organization containing the keyword marketing in their subject line. So you're doing this only for messages received, in which case you would select just the inbox folder. But right now, demonstration purposes, I'm going to leave it at all folders. So I want this particular report to show me any message sent, received, present in any folder which contains the keyword marketing. And then keyword. So you can decide where exactly the keyword should be present. So do you want the keyword in the subject line, whether you want the keyword in the body, whether you want to isolate messages based on the file name or the file extension. I'm doing this for message by subject. So let's select message subject, and the keyword here is marketing. So I'm going to locate all messages that contain the word marketing in the message subject. And these messages can be present in any of the folders in the mailboxes of my employees, the employees of my organization. So that's it. You can also specify limits for the attachment. I'm going to leave this blank because I don't particularly care about this right now. I want to isolate messages just based on the keyword. So once you've specified everything, just double check it so that you're sure what exactly this is run for, and click create. Please enter a valid name. Okay, I'm assuming this is because of the quotes. So let's remove that and click create. So this is going to create a report for me which contains the entries of this particular report is going to be all the messages that contain the keyword marketing. So they're all going to be listed out. So I just need to click on the report in order to view this particular information. So I'm assuming there is not going to be data available right now because this was just a test setup, and I'm sure we did not send any messages to our test mailboxes containing the keyword marketing. So data gathering is in progress. So this is probably going to be an empty report, but I'm sure you get the picture. So this report is going to list out every single message that contains the keyword marketing in the subject line. So that's how this works. So let's take a quick look at one of the attachment based reports. So let's look at the attachment by file name keyword report before we move on to the next task for the day. So this report is going to be listing all the attachments, I mean all the messages in my organization that contain a particular keyword in the file name of the attachment. So it shows me the name of the mailbox, it shows me the name of the folder and the message subject. It shows me who sent the message, who received the message, when they received the message, the size of the message, the name of the attachment is shown here since you are isolating messages based on keywords in the name of the attachment. And finally, it shows you the size of the attachment. So I'm sure you get how exactly having a report like this by your side would help you out. So yeah, as I mentioned in the use case earlier, if an internal investigation is going on in your organization, if you're facing any legal troubles which leads to you discovering messages in your organization which contain certain attachments, or for any of these reasons, isolating spam emails. So there are a number of doable use case scenarios where having these content reports of Exchange Reporter Plus would help you out. So that's where this task comes in, and I hope you were able to get all your questions about content reports solved, because this really is an all-round solution when it comes to isolating or locating messages based on the content. So that was this task. Let's move on to the next task for the day. Okay, so the next task for the day is another important task, and this is about the room mailboxes in your organization. So we need to track the usage of room mailboxes in your organization. So one common thing that we have all run into is this. When you work in a large organization, you are going to have meetings. You are going to have endless meetings, and meetings happen in conference rooms. So you decide. So on any particular day, your team is going to decide that you are going to have a meeting where you're going to discuss some things about projects or anything that needs to go on in your team. So you decide that the meeting is going to happen in one particular conference room. So here's what happens next. So right on time, you guys leave for the meeting, but you discover that some other people are already using the room. So this is obviously troublesome because you wanted your meeting to happen. The conference room that you planned on using is being used by other people, which makes you hunt for more conference rooms, and you need to find an empty conference room for all of you to occupy, for your team members to occupy, so that you can go ahead with the meeting and get it done with. So this is obviously a problem, which is why room mailboxes help out, right? So, and this is especially common in large organizations. And like once you occupy the room, even if you get a conference room, your meeting is going to go on forever, and someone else could have decided to use that room and you could be occupying it. This is just going to cause endless confusion for the people in your organization, which is why room mailboxes help out. So the administrator simply has to create a room mailbox for each of the meeting rooms in your organization, and then users can add the desired room mailbox to the meeting request. So this makes blocking a meeting room easy for the users. So if you want to find out if a room mailbox is going to be in use, if a conference room is going to be in use at the time of your meeting, you will know that you need to search for a different conference room. So using the native tools for this is once again cumbersome, and you don't exactly want to waste your time on that. And instead, you can just use one particular report of Exchange Reporter Plus, which makes identifying the room usage and status of room mailboxes easy. So let me switch to the product screen to show you how this is done. So as you can see in the left pane right here, we have a category called Room Mailbox Reports. So click on it, and the name of the report is Room Mailbox Usage. So click on Room Mailbox Usage. Since you want information about the usage of room mailboxes and the usage of conference rooms, you need to click on this report. So let's wait for it to load. Right, so here's how this report helps out. It shows you the name of the room, it shows you the number of meetings that are to be held in that room, and then it lists out three main things. It shows you the free hours of the room, it shows you tentative whether it's going to be booked or anything, and then it shows you the busy hours. How many hours is this room going to be busy? So it lists that out. It shows you these three columns. It also shows you information on those three in percentage. It shows you the average number of required attendees and the average number of optional attendees, and shows you the working hours of the room. So as you can see, it's giving you a 360-degree view of everything about the room mailboxes in your organization. So booking a room, booking a conference room for your next meeting is going to be so much easy if you could track the status and the usage of room mailboxes using this particular report. So, and this is just a lab setup, which is why the report is small. But in a large organization, if you want to track the topmost room mailboxes based on the usage, you can do so using the graph present at the top of the screen. So this graph shows you the top 10 room mailboxes based on the usage of the room mailboxes in percentage. So you can see the free hours, the busy hours, and the tentative hours of the room mailboxes in your organization. So it's just an easy to understand graph, and I'm sure you get how exactly this would be useful to you in the real world scenario. So in this way, you can check on the duration of meetings and you can avoid any delays. So this is how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus in order to track the usage of the conference rooms in your organization. Let's move on to the next task for the day. So the next task is going to be about Office 365 mailbox sizes. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this session, Exchange Reporter Plus has some reports which help out the administrators of hybrid environments. So people haven't exactly stepped all in into Office 365. So if you're somewhere in limbo, if you have both on-premises Exchange and if you have Exchange Online, Exchange Reporter Plus is still going to help you out. It provides several reports which help you manage both on-premises Exchange and your Exchange Online environment. And that's not all. We are also going to be releasing several new features especially for hybrid environments, so that you can manage your Exchange Online environment efficiently too. So this particular task is about the sizes of Office 365 mailboxes. So Microsoft Office 365 has evolved very well, which is why Exchange Reporter Plus has also integrated Office 365 mailboxes with the Exchange server. So with Office 365, users now have access to their mailboxes on the go. right? So this is accessibility has become so much easier with having Office 365 by their side. But when it comes to us as administrators, we need to keep track of the mailboxes in Office 365 too. And this isn't necessarily tedious because the native tools for managing Office 365 mailboxes are not really that difficult to use. They're actually okay for you to use. However, you need to perform frequent visits. So if you want capacity planning, you need to always be looking at the Office 365 portal in order to be tracking the sizes of Office 365 mailboxes. And to analyze mailbox size related details, you can use Exchange Reporter Plus because you don't have to use the portal or you don't have to spend endless hours scripting on PowerShell. So Exchange Reporter Plus gives this information on mailbox size in a very clear-cut manner. And let me switch to the product screen in order to tell you how exactly you can do that. So all the categories are listed out at the top of the screen, and the category that we are looking for is Office 365. So click on Office 365 and let's wait in order to select the report that we are looking for. So as you can see, these are all the reports that we have available on Office 365 currently, but we're working really hard to make sure that more features are released, and they will be released in the next release from Manage Engine Exchange Reporter Plus. But for now, let's move on and look at the mailbox size report. Right. So this report shows you the name of the mailbox, it shows you the size of the mailbox, and it shows you the number of items that are present in each of these mailboxes. And that's not all. Since this is just a lab setup, once again, this is going to be a very small report. But in a large organization, if it's going to be listing out all the mailboxes in your organization, it's going to be difficult. So if you want to track the topmost mailboxes in your organization based on the size of the mailboxes, you can do so using the graph that's present at the top of the screen. So this graph compares the mailboxes with the sizes. So in this way, you can easily discover the top 10 mailboxes based on the sizes very easily. So using this report, you can get a clear picture of the sizes of mailboxes, and if any mailboxes are becoming abnormally large, you will know. And you can also see how the mailboxes are sized, and you can plan for necessary archiving and backup measures. So capacity planning using Exchange Reporter Plus is going to be very easy. So with this report by your side. So this is a very important report for you. And in one of the previous workshops, we discussed how exactly you can track the sizes of Exchange server mailboxes. So if you have on-premises Exchange, you can track the sizes of those mailboxes too. And not only that, you can also receive real-time alerts when the size limits are being reached. So you don't want any important person in your organization to miss out on an email just because the size limits were reached. So Exchange Reporter Plus gives you real-time alerts about mailboxes reaching their size limits, and you can quickly go back and warn the users and troubleshoot in any means necessary, in any way necessary. So this was something that we discussed in one of the previous workshops. And as always, the recording is also available on YouTube. A recording of that particular workshop will be up on YouTube by the end of this week or the next week max. So you can take a look at it in order to get detailed information. Right, so let's move on to the next task of today. So the next task is going to be about active sync enabled devices in your organization. So we've already seen how you can track mailbox sizes using Exchange Reporter Plus, and now we are going to see how you can get information about active sync devices for Office 365 using Exchange Reporter Plus. So mobile devices are being used large scale in all of our organizations. And you have to agree that it's pretty tiresome to manage a large number of mobile devices. And there are several policies such as bring your own device, and this has made employees bring their own personal smartphones in order to ensure online availability. So they need to ensure that they're available online all the time, and they need to ensure that they can check their email messages. So people use their smartphones in order to access their mailboxes, in order to see the email messages that they've received. So things like this has made Active Sync an important aspect of Exchange management. So with the introduction of Office 365, the usage of these smartphones has increased even further. So because of this, there are so many PowerShell scripts, so many CSV files and Excel spreadsheets that we should look at, that we should be able to manage, and this is seriously just tiresome. So we need to manage several devices configured with Office 365, and let me tell you one thing, you can avoid all of this work using Exchange Reporter Plus. So it has 4 reports available under the Active Sync category, and you no longer have to look among the maze of users, Office 365 mailboxes and related policies. So this reporting tool, this Exchange Reporter Plus, maps smartphones with their corresponding mailboxes and policies, and it gives you detailed reports with which you can get complete information about Active Sync devices. So this is how this is done. Let's switch to the product screen. And the second category available in the left pane, it's called the O365 Active Sync reports, and there are 4 reports available here. So you have the Active Sync device details report, which helps you track specific devices in the case of security threats or security breaches. And then there's the device policy application status, with which you can track the extent of policy applied. You can see the status of the policies that have been applied to the devices in your organization. And then there's the mobile users by clients report, with which you can track mobile users by clients. And finally, there's the inactive Active Sync devices report, which lists out all the Active Sync devices which have been inactive over a particular period of time. So let's just look at maybe 2 reports, let's say the first and the last report. So if you click on Active Sync device details, it's going to give you complete details about all the Active Sync enabled mobile devices in your organization. So it shows you the name of the device, the type of the device, it shows you when the first sync happened, it shows you the username, the IMEI number of the device, the OS, and then finally it shows you when the last sync was successful and when the last sync was attempted. So this report is obviously going to be very helpful when you want information about the Office 365 Active Sync enabled mobile devices in your organization. And then there's the inactive devices. So Active Sync devices go stale over a period of time because people are going to be buying new smartphones by the minute. So the minute the newest iPhone comes out, everyone, yours truly included, is going to be buying it. So device partnerships go stale and the users don't exactly remove this themselves. So it falls on the administrator's shoulders in order to clear up these inactive devices. So discovering all the inactive Active Sync devices is going to be very important. So this report lists out all the Active Sync enabled mobile devices that have been inactive over the period that's shown here. So this is loading because this is our test setup. It's hosted on Azure, so it takes a teeny tiny bit of time. So, but I'm sure you get the picture. So it's just going to list out the name of the mobile device. It shows you when exactly it went stale. So you've selected the inactive period. So it gives you information about the mobile device. So it shows you the device details and it shows you the mailbox user who uses this particular device. So that's how this report works out. And then let's look at device policy application status, which shows you the status of the applied device policy. So let's see how exactly this report is going to help us out. It shows you the name of the device. It shows you the username, the policy that has been applied. It shows the name of the policy. It shows the policy application status. So it shows you the extent of the policy applied, whether it's applied in full or whether it's applied in part. And it shows you when the policy was last updated. So information such as this can be obtained easily using Exchange Reporter Plus. So let's move on to the final task of the day. This session will end in the next 2 to 3 minutes. So stay tuned and let me quickly go through this. So the last task for the day is twofold. So we are going to do two main things. So this is about public folders. We are going to check on the sizes of public folders, and we are also going to check on the permissions that have been assigned over public folders. So public folders are obviously a boon to Microsoft Exchange servers because they help save server space, which is very important. So using a public folder is easy on your Exchange servers. They also function within the quota limit. And how do they do that? They store files that need to be accessed universally. And they store this in a location that can be accessed universally. Do you get what I'm saying? Public folders have become universally accessible for all the users of public folders. So, and using public folders helps decrease the count of files in every user's mailbox. So each user in the network can get permission to access the public folder. So it's necessary to keep a check on everything related to these public folders, which is why we are going to do two main things related to public folders. We are going to track the sizes of public folders and track the permissions of public folders. So the first part of this task is about size. So why would you need to track public folder size? You do that when you would like some space optimization. For example, if one of the public folders shows an unusual or abnormal increase in size, it is a sign that a large amount of junk mail is present in it. So a media file could also be present in the public folder, and if you come to know about this in an easier manner, it becomes so much easier for you. You can take all the necessary steps in order to free up this unwanted space occupied, and you can make space for useful data instead. So that's where this is going to help you out. So here's how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus in order to track the sizes of public folders. As you can see, there's a category present right here called public folders. Let me click on it so that I can show you how exactly you can track public folder size. The name of the report is self-explanatory as always. It's called the public folder size report. So once again, it's a very straightforward report. It's going to show me information about the sizes of public folders, which means it shows me the name of the public folder, it shows me the folder path, it shows me the number of messages that are present in the public folder, and the size of the public folder. And if the report weren't enough, it also shows you the top 10 public folders based on the size of the public folder in graphical format at the top of the screen. So I'm sure you can see how exactly you can optimize server space in your organization using this particular report. Now there's another part to this task. The second part of this task is about public folder permissions. So, and what about permissions? You need to keep a track of all the permissions assigned on public folders, and this obviously includes your administrative permissions and client permissions. So keeping a check on the permissions assigned is important for security, and it is also important for compliance in an Exchange environment. And in order to view the entire list of administrative permissions and client permissions for public folders, there are two reports that you can use. So let me switch to the product screen to show you these two reports. The category that they are present under is called the permission reports, and the two reports that are available are public folder administrative permissions and public folder client permissions. So let me first click on the administrative permissions. As always, both of them are straightforward. It's going to list out all the administrative permissions that users or groups have over public folders. So it shows you the name of the public folder, and then it shows you the users or groups who have access over this particular public folder, and it also shows you the access rights that these users or groups have, as you can see here. So there's a public folder called common files and users and groups. So there's a user called Karthik who has access over this public folder. There's a group, there's the organization management group which has access over this public folder. So if you take Karthik, he has all extended rights over the common files public folder. So that's how you can view the entire list of administrative permissions that users and groups have over public folders. And the very last report that we are going to look at in this workshop and in this workshop series is this public folder client permissions report. So this is similar to the previous report. This report also lists out the names of the public folders. It shows you the users who have access rights over this public folder, and it also shows you what access rights that these users have. So as you can see, this is important information. All this information, if you use native tools to find it, it's going to be very difficult. So instead, you could just use Exchange Support Plus. It gives you complete details about it, and it's going to be very helpful for you. So that's it for today's workshop, and let's have a quick recap of everything that we saw so that we can wrap up with this session and so that we can wrap up with this series totally. So we saw how you can identify all the inactive distribution lists in your organization, and then we saw how you can locate messages based on keywords that are present in the content of the messages. So in particular, we saw the messages by subject keyword report, which helps you locate all the messages that have one particular word in their subject line. So Exchange Reporter Plus has a number of reports that allow you to do this. So this is all that we saw in the second task. And then we saw how you can track the usage of room mailboxes in your organization. We saw how you can view the sizes of Office 365 mailboxes and how you can get details about the active sync enabled mobile devices in your organization, especially for the case of Exchange Online. And then finally, we saw how you can check the sizes of public folders and how you can track the administrative and client permissions that users and groups have over public folders. So this was just a quick recap, and for folks who joined late into this session, you don't have to worry. A recording of this session will be up on YouTube in a while. So it should be up by this week or next week. So you can take a look at the recording in order to understand exactly what we discussed in today's session. So this is the last workshop of this workshop series, and I would like to thank you guys for being such a great audience. Thank you so much, because it means so much to us here at Manage Engine. So thank you for taking the time out to attend this workshop. You must obviously have a busy schedule. So I hope that this 45 minutes that you spent with us was useful for you. I hope that you understood how exactly Exchange Reporter Plus helps you simplify Exchange administration with the help of its granular reports. So thank you so much. And also, once this session ends, you will be receiving a feedback form. It would mean a lot to us if you could fill it up for us, because we would really like to know what you felt about this workshop. And it would also be great if you could offer suggestions on how exactly we can improve this experience for future attendees such as yourself. So please do give us some feedback so that we know how exactly we can improve. So thank you so much once again for attending the workshop, and I hope you have a great day today.